Susie, first game of 2022, a slightly scruffy first half, let's say, but that second half performance was what we're all about, wasn't it?
Yeah, we really wanted to launch into 2022 with a bang. It's a tricky place to come, Sale. Good side, physical side, and tricky conditions potentially, but actually the conditions weren't too bad. So we just made things difficult for ourselves in the first half. We didn't go off script. We just kept making errors, basic errors, and then you can't play ball. Found ourselves in the wrong places on the field, and you know, we're in a game at half time. But the pleasing thing is to then go into the sheds, have a chat about things, and come out and really start to play like we really know we can. So in the end, it's a really pleasing result.
And Flo was saying to me as well there about those messages at half time about just being direct, sticking to the processes, and trusting what we know we can do so well in that second half.
Absolutely. Well, we knew that our line out was dominant, so actually let's put ourselves in positions where we can execute a line out and progress up the field, etc, etc. You know, our scrum was a bit shaky, so you know, if you play too much ball, you'll give up the ball and there'll be a scrum. So it's not complicated, but you know, for us, we sometimes get a bit overexcited about playing too much rugby. And the pleasing thing is actually for that second half we were very not wholly, but pretty controlled in what we were doing, playing in the right areas, and just knocking up the scoreboard like you need to do.
And that puts us second or third in the table at the moment. Obviously other teams have got games in hand, points differences as well, but you talked about in the build up to this one not just wanting to be focusing on that top four, about pushing forward and really trying to get to the upper echelons of the league. And again, I suppose a second half performance like that is something that really helps stamp that marker down.
It certainly does. And the pleasing thing is, Rachel Johnson came back in, she was immense. Kate is in the back row. Zintley's on the field for the first time in the centre. So there's new stuff happening for us all the time, and it's almost like starting again. But we're not starting again because we're in motion, if that makes sense. So, you know, we know we can get better. We know we can shoot for any team at the top of the table if we get things right and we're accurate with what we do. So we stray away from that, any team will come and get us, as Sale showed. But it's a pleasing place to be. There's huge competition for shirts, which is fabulous going into the second game. But that cliche will remain. It's one game at a time. We're not getting carried away. We haven't come up to Sale and won a game and thinking we've won the cup. We are going into Quins hopefully with a game of prep, things that we did well, things that we didn't do so well, and focusing on us, but obviously being conscious of who they are.
And just focusing a little bit, you touched on Zintley there, her first start for the club. You said you were excited to see her being a bundle of energy out on the field. How did you rate her performance?
Yeah, she was good. She's getting used to how we play. It's very different to how her team plays in South Africa. But you can see her just moving around, getting herself in good positions, using her boot a little bit, which is part of her strength. So I think she's going to grow and grow into that Exeter Chiefs shirt, and she's excited. We're excited, and to be honest, we're in a pretty good place.
Just one final one then before we touch on next week. Talking about being in a really good place, like you said, the scrum was a little bit shaky at times throughout the match, but physical carry, physical dominance in and around the try line was fantastic, and that really was the difference that set it out today for us.
Yeah, they were, and we were more dynamic around that try line area than we have been. When you slow things down, it's easy to defend, so we talked about being more dynamic. We've done some work there. We've definitely got some work to do on our scrum, and we're aware of that. But that's what we're here for. We're not perfect. What have we got to work on next? Well, we're going to work on the scrum. We're going to work on some other bits of our game, and every week we need to get better, because if we get better, then we're heading in the right direction.
And just next week then, back at Sandy Park for the first time in 2022. Doesn't get much bigger than a clash against the champions Harlequins, does it?
Quins are very, very good. They're probably sitting in a comfortable position of performing really well. They played against Wasps on the 27th and got a good win. Prior to that, they've rolled Saris with a comfortable win. They're a very good side. They're missing quite a few numbers when we last played them. So we're taking them as they are, which is the next step that's in our way. The next blockage, whatever you want to call it, the next obstacle, and we'll work out how we think we can do well against them. But we take nothing away from them. They are full of quality, and we are going to have to be on our money.
Brilliant. Susie, let's hope the team's on their money like you say next week.
Cheers.